The first Red Hollow command stone cracked, while royal clerks lifted Mellin Shaw's door from its hinges. Every confiscation hammer stopped as the crack crossed the War Widow's courtyard. Alpha King Eryk Bann turned toward the 12 black stones beneath the cloister arches. Each bore the name of a battlefield sacrifice. Red Hollow stood at the eastern end, cut with 600 death marks. Commander Solus Trent did not look at it. Mellin stood before the house she had shared with Garran Shaw, while clerks painted a white deserter seal across the lintel. Beneath it, a second order transferred the property to Solus's eldest sister in recognition of the commander's service at Red Hollow. The courtyard held people Mellin had saved, mothers forced onto wagons, old men carried from the ridge, and children hidden beneath evacuation cloth. None spoke. Eryk faced her in black war armor, wearing the iron circlet used for pack judgment. Mellin Shaw, you withdrew before the lawful command. You removed wagons, healers, and reserve wolves from the eastern line. Garran's battalion lost its support. Your husband died with the soldiers you left behind. Each sentence stood in the campaign record. I withdrew under command, Mellin said. Solus stepped forward, silver-haired, every Red Hollow honor still fixed to his coat. No lawful withdrawal was entered. You heard the Northridge sequence. I heard broken howls, collapsing horns, and civilians begging soldiers to flee. I did not hear the late king surrender the eastern line. He ordered the civilians removed first. The official ledger contains no such order. Mellin looked at Eryk. Your father died giving it. The old Alpha's record ended with the lower vault defense. Solus's report stated that Mellin seized the supply wagons, invoked Garran's name, and abandoned the line without authority. 3 surviving officers had confirmed it. All 3 now served beneath Solus. You have been heard, Eryk said. No. I have been answered by the record you chose before asking who controlled it. Solus lifted the transfer order. The Shaw house was granted for military service. Desertion voids the holding. It belonged to Garran's mother before he wore a uniform. She left no separate inheritance claim. Mellin looked toward the silent civilians. Apparently being carried out alive does not make a witness. Years earlier, before Garran asked for her hand, Eryk had wanted Mellin beside him. She had chosen the soldier who treated civilian routes as command rather than distraction. Garran had never made her apologize for refusing a crown. Now, Eryk allowed that history to sharpen suspicion. You used the retreat to save yourself, he said. You called me a deserter before the people whose children I carried through fire. No one met her eyes. A second crack opened across the Red Hollow stone. Silver light entered the fracture. The command stones preserved neither ordinary speech nor every battlefield howl. They held only command sequences spoken with settled intent to sacrifice something the speaker did not expect to reclaim: life, rank, territory, blood, or name. They did not identify traitors, certify wisdom, or explain what happened after an order was given. They answered only when a sacrifice command was erased from the war ledger, while its living consequences remained. Old Battle Rock splits in winter, Solus said. Widow Marshal Brenner Voss stepped from beneath the cloister. Not inward. The crack ran inward, as if pressure had been trapped behind it. You no longer hold tribunal authority, Solus said. No. The tribunal decided widows should remember quietly. Silver lines spread through the stone and formed 3 narrow rings. A damaged command note sounded from within the rock. Hold. Then, silence. Eryk's royal wolf flashed silver behind his eyes and withdrew. Mellin had seen that failure at every Red Hollow memorial. Eryk could never complete his father's 4th victory note. The court called it grief. Mellin had heard a wolf refusing an official command with something missing from its center. You sealed the battle, command ledger, after the first memorial, she said. This judgment is not about my wolf. It became about your wolf. When its silence warned you the record was incomplete. Solus faced the clerks. A broken fragment proves nothing. The late king may have ordered the eastern line held. Then stop the confiscation and open the sequence, Mellin said. Eryk did not revoke the judgment. Preserve the stones. Suspend removal of the house until the command record is tested. The door and deserter record remained marked. The keys were withheld from Solus's family, but not returned to her. You call preservation mercy because confiscation had already begun, Mellin said. It is a stay, after you made the lie public. Eryk gave no apology. Brenna sealed the courtyard gates. 4 witnesses recorded the fractures without touching the stone. No one could strike, heat, or command another release until the sacrifice law was opened. A woman in the crowd began to cry. Mellin recognized the mother whose infant she had carried beneath her cloak. You knew I did not flee alone, Mellin said. I heard a command, the woman whispered. I did not know whose. You knew the wagons carried your children. Fear kept the woman silent. Solus turned to the courtyard. Civilian memory is not military certification. Panic changes sequence. Distance changes meaning. The second silver ring brightened. North Ridge Command. Civilian route first. Another command cut across it, louder and nearer. Solus's battlefield command. Hold the wagons. Secure the lower vault. The stone did not show whether Solus heard the full order or why he prioritized the vault. It established only that 2 commands had collided over the same soldiers and wagons. The lower vault held winter grain, Solus said. Losing it would have starved the pack. It held captured tribute beside the grain, Mellin replied. En accusation. Yes. The final fracture opened. The dead Alpha's voice emerged, weakened by distance but unmistakable. Mellin Shaw has evacuation command. Garran holds the eastern line until the civilian road clears. The silver light went dark. Mellin's hands remained at her sides. Garran had not believed she abandoned him. He had stayed because he knew she carried lawful command and because he chose to protect the road behind her. The command stones had not cleared every hour of the retreat. They had not named Solus a liar or explained what happened after the order crossed the battlefield. They proved only that Mellin had not stolen the wagons for herself, and that Garran had not been abandoned by the woman accused of leaving him. The royal war clerk cut the cord around the Red Hollow withdrawal ledger, while Mellin Shaw's deserter seal remained white across her door. The 12 command stones stood silent beneath the cloister. They had restored the missing order, not the missing record. Eryk Bann granted Mellin temporary retreat command witness standing. She could inspect the withdrawal ledger, question surviving officers, and compare battlefield notes tied to the civilian road. Her house remained under confiscation stay. Her name remained entered as deserter. Commander Solus Trent stood beside the war table, with every honor still fixed to his coat. A command to clear civilians does not authorize stripping the line of reserve wolves, he said. The late king may have issued it before the lower vault was threatened. Then the timing should be in the ledger, Mellin replied. The official sequence began with the late Alpha ordering the eastern line reinforced. The second entry directed reserve wagons toward Red Hollow. The third ordered the lower vault secured. The next named Mellin's departure unauthorized. No civilian first command appeared. No entry placed Garran on the eastern line while she cleared the road. The ledger had been copied from field strips after the battle. 3 strips were missing. Solus's counsel pointed to the torn binding. Red Hollow burned. Missing paper is not evidence of alteration. No, Mellin said, but a complete judgment, built from an incomplete sequence, is not certainty. Eryk looked toward the marked house. You kept my deserter name on the lintel while asking me to explain the order that should have removed it, she said. The stones established that an evacuation command existed, enough to stop your hammers, not enough for you to return what they came to take. No. He gave no apology. Widow Marshal Brenner Voss opened the sacrifice law. When a command stone restored an erased order, the war court had to test the surviving sequence before assigning desertion or command failure. The stone fracture note could establish that words were spoken. It could not establish how far they carried, who received them, or what changed afterward. The North Ridge was collapsing, Solus said. A king may order evacuation and reverse it when the line changes. Where is the reversal? Possibly among the missing strips. Possibility did not stop you from calling my departure theft. The command charts were brought from the signal archive. Orders traveled through ridgehorn, wolf call cadence, drum relay, and field flags. Overlapping sequences could smother one another before reaching every unit. The late Alpha's civilian first note began at the North Ridge. Solus's lower vault command began from the central trench less than a minute later. The two crossed over the wagon field. The central command was louder and nearer, the signal master said. It would have obscured the final note below the ridge. Could Commander Solus have believed he was reinforcing the king's order? Eryk asked. Yes. Could he have failed to hear the civilian authorization? Yes. Mellin did not ask uncertainty to become guilt. Could my wagon captains have heard the North Ridge command before Solus's sequence covered it? Yes. They were farther east. Mellin's column could have received lawful authority, while Solus's trench officers heard only the order to hold wagons and secure the vault. That did not prove Solus deliberately suppressed the first command. It proved the official ledger preserved only the stronger one. Eryk extended Mellin's standing to the lower vault custody review. Not to her property, not to her military rank. The vault contents have no bearing on reserve wolf desertion, Solus said. They bear on why your command competed with the king's, Mellin replied. The public inventory listed winter grain, fever, salt, medical wool, spare weapons, and emergency silver. The grain could have sustained the northern pack for 12 days. You called it captured tribute, Solus said. The register calls it survival. A second inventory should list war prizes. That page was sealed under war prize privacy. Eryk ordered only the red hollow entries opened. The page listed enemy coin, temple silver, carved moonstone, ceremonial wolf crowns, and 3 chests of ransom plate. The vault plan placed the grain in rear cells behind 2 stone doors. The captured silver filled the front chamber, nearest the trench access. Solus's counsel said, placement does not prove motive. The front chamber was easier to defend, or easier to remove, Mellin replied. The transport ledger showed 11 wagons assigned to the vault after the civilian route began. 7 later carried grain. 4 had no listed load. All 4 belonged to the reserve column Solus accused Mellin of stealing. 2 drivers were dead. 1 had vanished. The 4th, Olden Mar, lived in the Western Infirmary. He was carried into the courtyard before sunset. I drove for Commander Solus. Olden said. What did your wagon carry? Mellin asked. Silver plate under grain cloth. Did I order you onto the civilian road? No. Did Solus order you to abandon the eastern line? No. The limitation was entered. Did you hear the late Alpha's command? Only the first half. Civilian route first. Then Commander Trent's signal covered it. Did Garran hear it? He stood closer to the ridge relay. The field mark chest was opened. Every battalion commander carried a black iron strip recording the last order personally received when normal ledgers failed. Garran's strip had been recovered from his body. The official death report summarized it as, hold eastern line, await reserve return. Mellin requested the original. Solus objected that casualty marks belonged to the battalion archive. I am his widow, and his death is being used as proof that I deserted him. Eryk ordered the strip brought under divided custody. The iron had warped in the fire, but 3 moon-cut marks remained. The first meant lawful command received. The second meant civilian route under protection. The third meant voluntary hold, after separation from evacuation command. Beneath them, Garran had carved one final field line. Mellin carries the King's road. I hold until her last wagon clears. The mark did not prove what Solas heard. It proved Garran received the late Alpha's order, understood why Mellin left, and chose to hold the eastern line until the civilian road was safe. The field mark did not explain every missing wagon. It proved only that Garran had not died believing himself abandoned. Commander Solas Trent rested one hand beside the opened war ledger. Garran's loyalty does not prove Mellin's column remained within lawful limits. 4 reserve wagons disappeared during collapse. That loss still belongs to the evacuation command. Mellin looked past him toward her house. The white deserter seal remained nailed across the lintel. You are testing the road I carried while leaving the word deserter above my door. Alpha King Eryk Bann did not remove it. He extended Mellin's temporary standing to vault transport custody and ordered the war prize ledger opened under divided seal. Her military rank remained suspended. Her property stayed under confiscation review. No apology crossed the courtyard. The war prize ledger listed 12 captured loads taken at Red Hollow, temple silver, ransom plate, carved moonstone, enemy coin, ceremonial crowns, and sealed officer chests. 4 silver wagons had been reassigned to the reserve column shortly after the late Alpha's civilian first command. Solas's counsel indicated the entry. War. Prize custody is not theft. It is survival accounting. During retreat, valuables move with the strongest available escort. Then the receiving treasury should show all 4, Mellin said. The Northern Treasury book was brought from the archive. Only 2 silver wagons arrived. One carried temple plate. The other carried enemy coin. The moonstone and ransom chests had no receiving marks. The 2 delivered wagons bore treasury seals applied after dawn. Their escort slips named ordinary reserve wolves, not Mellin's civilian drivers. The missing pair carried lower vault release marks, but no destination witness. A release mark proved only that the wagons left custody. It did not establish where they went, who changed their road, or whether they survived the retreat. Road collapse, Solas said. 2 wagons may have been lost. Were they entered as lost? No. Burned? No surviving entry. Captured? No. Then they vanished inside a record controlled by your command. That is inference. Yes. Mellin did not ask the court to turn absence into conviction. The transport numbers were compared. Olden Mar's wagon matched one of the missing 4. He was brought forward again, wrapped in an infirmary cloak. My load was silver plate beneath grain cloth, he said. Where were you ordered to take it? Mellin asked. The Eastern Reserve Road. By me? No. By Garran? No. By Commander Trent? Olden hesitated. A quartermaster carried his black command strip. Did you see Solas give the order? No. The limitation was entered. Solas's counsel leaned toward the judges. A quartermaster, acting under emergency authority, does not establish personal command. Mellin asked for the quartermaster register. The name beside Olden's wagon was Mellin Shaw, a transport officer who vanished 3 days after Red Hollow. His final pay was collected by an unnamed relative. His quarters were cleared before the casualty review. Desertion? Eryk asked. Solas answered first. Likely panic. Men fled after the line broke. Was he entered as deserter? Mellin asked. No formal finding. So, a missing officer retained uncertainty while I received judgment. You commanded civilians and reserve assets. I obeyed the king. You may have exceeded the route. Then prove the excess from the road, not from the house you wanted transferred. The surviving transport papers were opened. Edrin's last route slip assigned Olden's wagon to the lower vault column. A correction changed the destination to civilian reserve support. The correction carried no time mark. The ink was tested against the field kits preserved from Red Hollow. The original destination had been written during battle. The civilian support correction was added after the wagons reached the capital. Solas's expression did not change. Post-war clerks often regularized damaged routes. Regularized, Mellin said, or moved missing silver into my command. The ink source belonged to the Red Hollow Casualty Office. 6 clerks had access. No hand could yet be identified. The court opened the officer statements used against Mellin. 3 surviving officers had certified that she departed before lawful release. Their first statements, taken within 2 days of battle, used different words. Captain Joran Vale had written that Mellin's wagons left under disputed command. Lieutenant Harra Morn had written that the Northridge sequence could not be fully heard. Pack Captain Senolo had written that Garran remained voluntarily after separation. None had called Mellin a deserter. The word appeared only in the consolidated report issued 12 days later. All 3 consolidation marks belonged to the casualty office. Solas had signed the report as commanding witness. That signature certifies collected testimony, he said. It does not mean I dictated every word. Who changed disputed command into desertion? Mellin asked. The report does not say. Harra Morn still served beneath Solas. She was summoned from the western barracks. She entered without looking toward Mellin's house. Did you write that Mellin deserted? Eryk asked. No. Did you authorize that word? I signed the final summary. Before or after reading it, Harra's silence lasted too long. After Commander Trent's secretary told us the property tribunal required a clear classification, the courtyard remained still. Mellin asked, What property tribunal? The Shaw Holding Review. When was it opened? Harra looked toward Solas. I do not know. The property archive was brought under seal. Its outer docket carried succession wax from Solas's command office, but the petition itself named his sister's household steward as applicant. That showed access and family interest. Not yet that Solas had ordered the filing. The formal desertion judgment had been entered on the 17th day after Red Hollow. The request to transfer Mellin's house to Solas's sister was dated the 14th. 3 days before the tribunal officially named Mellin a deserter, the new owner had already been chosen. The property docket had not named the hand that changed Mellin's report. It had named the reward prepared before the judgment. Commander Solas Trent stood beneath the cloister with his sister's transfer petition open before him. A property claim may be filed before classification and held pending judgment, he said. My sister's steward used war widow vacancy law. I did not draft the petition. A pending petition is not theft, his counsel added. It is administrative readiness. Mellin Shaw looked toward the white seal nailed across her door. You can see the reward was prepared before the judgment, and still my name remains its lock. Alpha King Eryk Bann ordered the property tribunal docket and the Red Hollow Casualty Office drafting chain opened under divided custody. He did not remove the seal. He did not return the house. Mellin's temporary standing extended only to deserter classification review. She could inspect the words used to condemn her, compare drafts, and question those who handled the report. She remained without restored rank or property authority. The first tribunal entry concerned the Shaw house. Vacancy classification required before transfer eligibility. It was dated the 13th day, after Red Hollow. The final casualty report did not call Mellin a deserter until the 16th. The property petition had been prepared on the 14th. The tribunal required a classification, Solas said. That does not mean it dictated which one. No, Mellin replied. But the house record was asking for a word before the battlefield record supplied it. The casualty office produced 4 surviving drafts. In the earliest, Mellin had departed under disputed command. In the second, she had removed civilian wagons before full signal confirmation. In the third, her departure had weakened reserve support. Only the final draft used deserter. The sentence appeared in a different hand from the surrounding report. Casualty Secretary Eryk Bann was brought from the Eastern Archive. She had copied the final consolidation, but had not taken the original officer statements. "Who supplied that sentence?" Eryk asked. "A correction memorandum from the command office. Signed? No personal signature. It carried the office seal." "Whose office?" "Commander Trent's." Solas did not move. "My office handled every Red Hollow classification. A seal proves routing, not authorship." "Did the memorandum request the word deserter?" Mellin asked. "It requested a clear transfer term," Eryk said. "What does that mean?" "A classification that property clerks could apply without military interpretation." "Did you choose deserter?" "No." "Did Commander Trent speak to you?" "No." The limitation was entered. Solas's counsel turned toward the tribunal judges. A secretary received standard filing language from a command office. "That is not proof Commander Trent altered a battlefield report." Mellin did not claim that it was. She asked for the original statements placed beside the final report. Captain Joran Vale had written, "Mellin's column departed after a North Ridge signal obscured by trench command." The final report said, "Mellin departed before lawful release." Lieutenant Harra Morn had written, "Civilian wagons moved while sequence remained disputed." The final report said, "Mellin seized military wagons without confirmed authority." Pack Captain Sen Orlo had written, "Garran Shaw remained by choice after separation." The final report said, "Garran Shaw was deprived of reserve support through his wife's withdrawal. Each change removed uncertainty. Each change transferred the cause of battlefield collapse toward Mellin." The consolidated report simplified conflicting accounts. Solas said, "Courts cannot rule from 3 incompatible descriptions." "Then why did every simplification benefit the property transfer?" Mellin asked. "Because the facts supported desertion. The report did not follow the retreat. It followed the house." Joran Vale was brought forward under oath. He still wore Solas's command clasp. "Did you approve the final wording?" Eryk asked. "I signed the consolidated record." "Did you attend its review?" "Yes." "Who was present?" "Commander Trent's legal adjutant, 2 casualty clerks, Lieutenant Morn, Pack, Captain Orlo, and me." "Was Commander Trent there?" "For the opening portion." Solas answered before Mellin could. "I attended dozens of casualty reviews. Presence does not establish that I dictated a sentence." Mellin asked Joran when the word deserter first appeared. "After the property requirement was read, who inserted it?" "I did not see the hand. Did anyone object?" Lieutenant Morn said the North Ridge command remained unresolved. "And?" "The adjutant said unresolved command could not support transfer classification." "What happened then?" "The word disputed was struck. Deserter was entered." "By whose authority?" "The memorandum was cited." "Not Solas's personal instruction." "Not yet. But the word had entered the military record only after his office learned the property tribunal needed it." Eryk ordered the review attendance leaf produced. It was missing. The casualty clerk said the leaf had been removed when the Red Hollow files were reorganized after Edrin Shaw vanished. Mellin turned toward the clerk. "Why would a quartermaster handle casualty drafting records?" "He did not. But his sealed correction arrived in the same outgoing pouch." The pouch register showed 1 document from Edrin, entered the night before he disappeared. It had been redirected from the transport office to restricted casualty, custody, and never attached to the final report. Solas's counsel objected. "A missing attachment cannot be treated as testimony." "No," Mellin said, "but the routing mark can tell us who buried it." The restricted packet was found behind the casualty office transfer book, still sealed with Edrin's quartermaster stamp. The wax had cracked but not been replaced. Eryk ordered it opened before witnesses. Inside was a wagon correction, naming the 2 loads that never reached the Northern Treasury. Edrin had recorded their numbers, drivers, and original destination. Across the bottom, in his own hand, he had written, These wagons were diverted from Mellin Shaw's civilian road under Commander Trent's lower vault order. Do not enter them as evacuation loss. The sealed correction was transferred to divided custody before anyone was allowed to call it proof of theft. Edrin Scholl's handwriting established that 2 silver wagons had been diverted away from Mellin's civilian road. It did not establish who finally received them, whether Commander Solos Trent had personally issued the order, or why Edrin vanished after recording it. Solus's counsel rose beside the casualty table. A quartermaster may misunderstand a command transmitted through deputies. The phrase, "under Commander Trent's order," can describe chain authority, not personal instruction. Mellin Shaw looked toward the white deserter seal above her door. "You have opened the record that moved silver away from my road," she said to Eryk Bann, "and the lie that made my road criminal is still nailed over my house." Eryk did not remove it. He extended her temporary standing to lower vault authorization review and the final custody of the 2 missing wagons. Her rank remained suspended. Her home remained under stay. Solus's honors remained on his coat. The lower vault order book was brought from the war archive. Every emergency order required 3 marks: field necessity, command authorization, and receiving witness. The instruction diverting the 2 wagons carried the first 2. The receiving witness line was blank. Field necessity had been entered as preservation of winter stores during route collapse. Command authorization bore Solus's black wolf seal. "My seal traveled with my command adjutant," Solus said. "Red Hollow had 4 active fronts. I could not press every order myself." "Who held it?" Mellin asked. "Adjutant Cale Vorn. Cale had died 2 weeks after the battle from an infected spear wound. His service record contained no disciplinary finding and no surviving statement about the wagons. A dead deputy cannot be cross-examined," Solus's counsel said. "Nor can his use of the seal be converted into Commander Trent's private intent." The limitation was entered. Mellin requested the seal use strip. Each command seal left a pressure code when pressed into field wax. Personal use cut the full wolf jaw. Deputy use omitted the rear tooth. The wagon order showed the full jaw. Solus studied the strip without lowering his eyes. Wax deforms under heat. The seal keeper agreed that battlefield heat could deepen an incomplete impression. It could not, from the wax alone, prove whose hand pressed the seal. "Then compare the timing," Mellin said. The order was issued 9 minutes after the late Alpha's civilian first command, and 4 minutes after Solus's lower vault sequence crossed the wagon field. At that hour, Solus's official position was the central trench. The lower vault stood beneath the same trench. "You were near the order point," Mellin said. "So were 40 officers. And your personal seal?" "With my adjutant, unless I used it." No record settled which. Eryk ordered the vault gatebook opened. 1 missing wagon entered through the lower gate before midnight. Olden Mar's number appeared beside a load described as damaged grain plate. "Grain plate is not a recognized category," Mellin said. The gate clerk, now 70 and nearly blind, was carried into the courtyard. His name was Pel Arvin. "What did you see?" Mellin asked. "Covered crates. Grain sacks along the outer boards." "Could you see silver?" "One crate split when the wheel struck stone." "What was inside?" "Ransom dishes. Temple cups." "Who received the wagon?" "A vault officer wearing Commander Trent's clasp." "Was it Commander Trent?" "No." The limitation was entered. The receiving officer's name had been scraped from the gatebook. Beneath the abrasion remained the first letter, R. Solus's command staff at Red Hollow included 5 officers whose names began with R. None could yet be tied to the erased line. The second missing wagon never entered the lower gate. Its wheel number appeared instead in the West Post Road Register shortly before dawn. The post led toward the Royal Mint, the officer burial field, and 3 private military estates. Solus said, A damaged wagon may have been rerouted for repair. Was repair entered? No surviving entry. Was loss entered? No. Was delivery entered? No. Then both wagons disappeared only after they left the road you blamed me for taking. That does not prove they benefited me. No. Mellin requested the War Honor Mint Book. Eryk hesitated. The Mint Book contained private awards issued after battle, including honors still worn by living officers. Opening it would expose sealed reward valuations across the command. You opened my husband's last mark before correcting his death record, Mellin said. Do not protect the privacy of medals purchased from the same battle that made my house transferable. Eryk ordered only the Red Hollow entries opened. The Mint received 2 unregistered deliveries during the week after the army returned. One contained damaged temple silver, the other contained ransom plate. Both had been melted into victory clasps, officer cups, and memorial wolves. Solus touched neither the honors on his coat nor the silver wolf at his collar. Captured material lawfully becomes crown property, he said. After treasury receipt, Mellin answered. Not before. The Mintmaster confirmed that the deliveries arrived without treasury seals. He accepted them because each carried a lower vault release strip and a command office routing note. Whose command office? Eryk asked. Commander Trent's. Who delivered the note? A junior officer. I no longer remember his face. No personal hand. No confession. But the 2 wagons had not been lost on Mellin's evacuation road. Their silver had entered the honor system beneath Solus's command authority, while her column carried civilians east. The Mint ledger listed which honors had been made from the unregistered metal: 3 Red Hollow commander clasps, 6 officer cups, 1 household grant. Seal. Mellin's gaze moved to the transfer petition beside Solus. The wax impression, authorizing his sister's claim, had been pressed with a newly cast household seal. The Mint number matched the last item on the list. The report did not merely follow the property, Mellin said. The missing silver made the seal that claimed it. Solus's counsel objected immediately. A grant seal made from crown silver does not prove Commander Trent ordered theft, altered testimony, or knew the metal bypassed treasury custody. No, Mellin said. The Mint had established benefit and root, not personal authorship. Then the clerk unfolded the delivery wrapper, attached to the household seal. Across its inner fold was a name no one had entered in the casualty record: Mellin Shaw. The vanished quartermaster had delivered the silver used to make the seal on the petition that took Mellin's house. The Mint wrapper was sealed before Mellin Shaw's name could be treated as proof that he had joined the theft. A delivery signature established that the missing quartermaster carried unregistered silver to the Royal Mint. It did not establish whether he understood the load, chose the route, received payment, or acted under command. Commander Solus Trent's counsel used that uncertainty at once. Edrin controlled transport corrections, wagon seals, and casualty routing. He could have diverted the silver, altered the records, and attached my office note without Commander Trent's knowledge. Mellin Shaw looked toward the white deserter seal above her door. You are prepared to give a missing officer every uncertainty you denied me. Alpha King Eryk Bann did not answer the accusation. He extended Mellin's temporary standing to Edrin's movement, pay, and custody records. The house remained under stay. Her rank remained suspended. Solus retained his honors pending proof of personal misconduct. The quartermaster return book showed Edrin entered the capital 4 days after Red Hollow. He delivered 2 sealed transport packets, 1 wagon correction, and a damaged command pouch. He then reported to the casualty office for what the clerk described as sequence reconciliation. Did he appear frightened? Mellin asked. The return clerk considered. He appeared injured. How? His right hand was bound. He could not hold the writing stylus. Then who signed the Mint wrapper? The mark may have been taken from his left hand. The wrapper showed a clean quartermaster signature, not a pressed thumb or assisted mark. Solus said, "An injured hand does not mean coercion, nor does it prevent a man from signing earlier." The Mintmaster confirmed that Edrin had not signed in his presence. The wrapper arrived already marked. The signature established routing, not delivery, by Edrin's own hand. Mellin requested the gate register for the Mint Road. A covered command wagon entered at dusk, carrying 3 officers and 1 injured quartermaster. The wagon bore Solus's lower vault insignia. "Was Commander Trent inside?" Eryk asked. The gate sergeant shook his head. "I saw only cloaks and command clasps. No face had been recorded. The wagon left the Mint without the quartermaster." Solus's counsel said, "Edrin may have remained voluntarily to explain the load." "Where did he sleep?" Mellin asked. The quartermaster barracks recorded no return. His pay account was frozen the next morning for suspected desertion. No tribunal had classified him. No search order had been issued. No body had been identified. "He was declared missing without inquiry," Mellin said. "Red Hollow produced hundreds of missing men," Solus replied. "Not many who delivered silver into your honor mint and then disappeared inside the capital. That remains inference." "Yes." Eryk opened Edrin's quarters under divided seal. The room had been cleared years earlier, but the barracks inventory survived. It listed 2 uniforms, root tablets, a shaving knife, a winter cloak, and 1 locked field case transferred to command custody. "Whose command custody?" Mellin asked. The inventory clerk read the faded mark. "Commander Trent's transport office." Solus's face remained still. "Quartermaster cases belonged to the office after disappearance. Before or after he was classified missing, the transfer date came first. Edrin's field case had entered Solus's office 6 hours before his pay was frozen. A transport office secures route material when an officer fails to report," Solus said. "He had not yet failed to report when you took it. My staff may have anticipated an absence after the Mint inquiry. Then they knew he would not return." "That is not what I said. The case was located in the restricted transport archive. Its lock had been replaced. The original latch was stored separately and bore a bent pressure tooth, suggesting forced entry. Inside were blank route strips, wagon tallies, and a Red Hollow mud map. No confession, no missing silver, no explanation for Edrin's disappearance. At the bottom lay a folded barracks meal chit. On its reverse, Edrin had copied 4 time marks: Mint arrival, casualty, office entry, property, docket delivery, and command custody transfer. Beside the final mark, he had written a single phrase: "Not absent, held for correction." Solus's counsel objected before the clerk finished reading. "The phrase does not name who held him, where he was taken, or what correction meant." The limitation was entered. Mellin asked for the casualty office visitor leaf from the same night. The original leaf was missing, but the night guard's separate watchbook recorded Edrin entering with 2 command escorts. He remained inside for 43 minutes. When he left, his injured hand had been tied behind him. "Could that have been for medical restraint?" Solus asked. The guard was still alive. He was brought from a border pension house by moonrise. "Was Edrin under arrest?" Mellin asked. "No formal arrest was declared." "Did he walk freely?" "No." "Who gave the escort command?" "A captain wearing the lower vault wolf." "Name?" "I never saw his face clearly." Another office mark. No personal hand. The guard remembered Edrin saying 1 sentence before the wagon door closed: "Tell the widow the silver never touched her road." The words supported Edrin's correction. They did not explain why he had carried the mint wrapper, or who forced the route change. Eryk ordered the command wagon register opened. Only 1 lower vault wagon left the casualty office during that hour. Its destination had been entered as Western Medical Transfer. The Western Infirmary had no arrival. A secondary line redirected the wagon to Crowglass Hold, a military witness site beyond the northern ridge. Solus said, "Protected witnesses were sometimes moved there during command disputes." Was Edrin entered as a witness? Mellin asked. No surviving classification. Prisoner? No. Patient? No. He had been transported without legal status. The transfer carried Solas's office seal and a countersign from the Royal Emergency Desk. Eryk's gaze fixed on the second mark. His own Regency signature had authorized sealed military transfers during the first month after Red Hollow. He had not named Edrin. He had authorized the system that removed him. Mellin did not soften. You opened the road that carried him out while the report carrying me into disgrace came back. Eryk gave no apology. He ordered Croglass Hold's custody book, brought before dawn. The book contained no release for Edrin Shaw. It contained one intake entry, written beneath a false name. The physical description matched his height, injured hand, and quartermaster scar. Across the final column, the keeper had written, "Transferred alive by command order after refusing to amend the wagon correction." Croglass Hold had not lost Edrin Shaw. It had renamed him. The false intake listed a widowed grain clerk called Edric Shale, injured in the right hand and transferred under protected military custody. No family contact was permitted. No charge appeared. No witness petition had been filed. Commander Solas Trent's counsel read the entry twice. False names were used to protect threatened witnesses after Red Hollow. That does not prove unlawful detention. Mellin Shaw stood beneath the deserter seal, still nailed across her door. A protected witness is told what he is protected from. Alpha King Eryk Bann extended her temporary standing to Croglass custody and transfer review. He did not restore her rank. He did not remove the white mark from the house. He did not suspend Solas's honors. The Croglass keeper, Master Rennick Vale, was brought before the courtyard tribunal. He had been a young record officer when Edrin arrived. Was the quartermaster admitted voluntarily? Mellin asked. No. Was he charged? No formal charge accompanied him. Was he entered as a witness? The command order said sensitive transport correction. Who ordered the false name? The document carried Commander Trent's office seal. Solas answered before Mellin could turn. My office managed the transport dispute. A routing seal does not show that I selected the name or ordered confinement. Did you visit Croglass? Not during that month. The visitor register confirmed no entry under Solas's name. It did not prove he had never entered by military privilege, but no witness could place him there. Rennick described Edrin's condition. He had bruising beneath the jaw and binding marks on both wrists. His hand wound had reopened. Did he receive treatment? Yes. Did he speak about the wagons? He said 2 silver loads had been removed from the evacuation route before Mellin Shaw took command of the civilian column. Did he name Commander Trent? He said the lower vault order carried the commander's authority. Authority, Solas's counsel said. Not personal instruction. The distinction was entered. Edrin remained at Croglass for 6 days. During that time, 3 amended statements were placed before him. The first changed, diverted to reassigned. The second changed silver loads to protected winter assets. The third changed Mellin's civilian road to unauthorized withdrawal route. Edrin signed none. Who drafted the amendments? Eryk asked. Rennick opened the Hold's retained copy packet. Each page had been prepared by the Red Hollow Casualty Office. Each carried a command review mark. None bore Solas's personal signature. A casualty office clarifies disputed wording, Solas said. Refusal to sign does not make the original statement true. No, Mellin replied. It proves he would not let your office make his statement useful against me. Rennick continued. On the 7th morning, a second transfer order arrived. It directed Edric Shale to North Fen Hospice for long recovery and restricted contact. Croglass recorded his departure alive. North Fen had no arrival under either name. The escort was led by Captain Rorik Dane, one of 5 Red Hollow officers whose names began with the letter left beneath the scraped vault gate entry. Rorik had died the following winter. His service record praised him for securing war assets during the retreat. Was he your officer? Mellin asked Solus. Yes. Did he carry your lower vault clasp? Yes. Did you assign him to witness transport? My adjutant controlled escort rotations. Again, the command chain reached Solus's office without establishing his hand. The escort route crossed 3 military posts. At the first, the wagon was registered for North Fen. At the second, the destination changed to the Western Forest Road. At the third, the wagon disappeared from the official register. A stable boy had preserved a private feed tally because the escort refused crown oats and paid with clipped temple silver, the same kind of silver that had bypassed treasury custody. Clipped coin moved everywhere after Red Hollow, Solus said. Not lawfully from sealed temple plate, Mellin answered. The tally named 4 horses and 1 covered wagon. It also recorded a passenger speaking through the boards. Tell Mellin. The report follows the silver. The stable boy, now a grown border groom, could not swear the voice belonged to Edrin. He had never seen the passenger's face. The limitation was entered. Mellin requested Rorik Dane's effects. His widow had received his weapons, cloak, Red Hollow cup, and command chest. The chest had later been claimed by Solus's office as protected war material. It was opened under tribunal seal. Inside lay escort schedules, lower vault maps, and a private payment strip showing 3 disbursements after Edrin's transfer. 1 payment went to Crowglass Hold for restricted custody. 1 went to the Western Forest Post for unrecorded passage. 1 went to a property clerk attached to the Shore Transfer Tribunal. Solus's counsel rose. Command funds often supported protected witnesses, military transport, and property administration. Shared payment does not establish conspiracy. No, Mellin said. The entries established that the same command account financed Edrin's hidden movement and the tribunal preparing to take her house. The payment strip had been approved with a deputy seal, not Solus's full mark. Eryk ordered the command account register opened. The deputy seal belonged to Cale Vaughan, Solus's dead adjutant. Solus's defense tightened around the name. Cale controlled emergency funds. If he exceeded authority, the commander cannot be convicted through a dead subordinate seal. Mellin did not ask for conviction. Who reviewed Cale's account after his death? Solus's quartermaster answered from the witness rail. Commander Trent. Were irregularities reported? No. Were the Crowglass payments preserved? No. They were consolidated as Red Hollow witness expenses. By whom? The final review carried Commander Trent's personal closure mark. The closure mark did not prove Solus ordered the original transfers. It proved he reviewed the account afterward and closed the payments without separating Edrin's detention from Mellin's property case. Solus said, "A commander closes hundreds of lines. I could not investigate every protected expenditure after losing half my officers. You found time to sign the report that called me deserter," Mellin replied. Eryk looked toward the house, but left the seal untouched. Rennick then produced one item, omitted from the formal Crowglass packet. Edrin had sewn a thin iron tally into the hem of his prison cloak. The keeper found it after the second transfer, and hid it when the casualty office demanded all personal effects. One side carried the numbers of the 2 missing silver wagons. The other carried a route destination, not North Fen, not the Western Forest. The mark belonged to Ash Barrow, an abandoned Red Hollow signal station beneath Solus's wartime authority. Beneath it, Edrin had scratched, "If I am moved again, open the command room floor." Ash Barrow was sealed before sunrise, before Solus Trent's officers could remove another board from its command room. The abandoned signal station stood beneath the northern ridge, half buried in red grass and old battle ash. Its tower had no roof. Its lower chamber still faced the road Mellin Shaw had used to lead civilians out of Red Hollow. Alpha King Eryk Bann extended Mellin's temporary standing to the station inspection and command receipt chain. Her rank remained suspended. The deserter seal remained above her door. Commander Solus retained his honors. "You are opening the floor beneath his command," Mellin told Eryk. "While leaving my name fastened to the lie above mine, the station may contain root evidence, and my house contains the sentence built from its absence." Eryk gave no apology. The official decommission record claimed Ash Barrow had been closed 2 months before the battle. Its signal mirrors were listed as removed, its command slates destroyed, and its lower room sealed against weather. The inspection contradicted each claim. Fresh smoke had darkened the inner vent during the week of Red Hollow. A mirror bracket remained behind the collapsed tower wall. Wax from military signal candles clung beneath the western ledge. The floor around the command table had been worn by boots after the sealing date. Solus's counsel said, "Soldiers may have reopened an abandoned post during collapse. Unauthorized use does not establish Commander Trent's knowledge." "No," Mellin said. She walked the room without touching anything. Ash Barrow had been built from an older evacuation design. Mellin knew the pattern because Garran had once brought her the ridge plans and asked whether wounded soldiers could be moved through the lower passage. The command room floor should have contained 6 long stone panels. It contained 7. "The center panel is not original," she said. The royal mason measured the joints. The 7th stone had been cut from the same quarry, but laid after the others. Red hollow ash had been rubbed across its edges to age it. The panel was lifted under 4 seals. Beneath it lay a narrow iron chest, wrapped in rotten signal cloth. Solus did not move. "A hidden chest inside a wartime station proves concealment," he said. "Not ownership." The chest lock bore no name. Its hinge carried the mark of the lower vault engineering unit. That unit had answered to Solus's command, though several officers could requisition its work. Inside were broken signal teeth, 4 relay slates, a half-burned station ledger, and a sealed cloth packet bearing Mellin Shaw's quartermaster mark. Mellin requested the relay slates examined first. Each slate preserved a command by sequence cuts rather than words. The signal master read them in order. North Ridge Authority. Civilian Road first. Mellin Shaw holds evacuation command. Garran Shaw holds Eastern Line until final wagon clears. A 5th cut followed. Lower vault remains secondary until Civilian Road is open. The courtyard record had preserved only fragments of the first 4 notes. The official withdrawal ledger contained none of them. The 5th had never appeared anywhere. Solus's counsel rose. A station copy can be incomplete, mistaken, or entered after battle. The signal master turned the slate over. On the reverse was an acknowledgement cut from the central trench command room. Full sequence received. The mark had been made before Solus's order to hold the wagons and secure the lower vault. The signal master compared the slate cuts with the station's surviving time wheel. Ash Barrow had synchronized its sequence to the central trench drum at sunset, even allowing for a damaged wheel. The acknowledgement preceded the lower vault order by at least 3 minutes. An acknowledgement may be cut by a relay clerk before a commander reads the message, Solus said. Who could lawfully reverse the 5th note? Mellin asked. A senior field commander, the Royal Reserve Desk, or an emergency adjutant. The Royal Reserve Ledger contained no reversal. Cale Vaughan, Solus's dead adjutant, had authority to relay one, but no such instruction survived under his mark. That left authority inside the command room, not yet a named hand. Mellin did not ask the tribunal to pretend the difference was smaller than it was. A complete order entered your room, she said. A competing order left it. Between those 2 facts, someone decided civilians and the men protecting them could be erased from the sequence. Mellin looked at him. You said the king's final command may have been smothered before it reached you. I said the battlefield sequence was uncertain. A command room acknowledgement does not prove I personally heard every note. Were you in the central trench command room? My official position was there. During the acknowledgement? Yes. Did anyone brief you? I do not remember every signal spoken in a collapsing battle. The evidence placed the full order inside Solus's command room before his competing command. It did not yet prove which officer read it aloud, whether Solus understood the fifth note, or who chose to omit it from the final ledger. Eryk ordered the station ledger opened. Most pages had been burned from the center outward. The surviving margins listed 3 relay operators: Nara Pell, Boss Ven, and Elian Tor. Nara died at Red Hollow. Boss disappeared during the northern retreat. Elian's casualty line named him killed beneath Ash Barrow. No body number accompanied the entry. Mellin opened Edrin's cloth packet. Inside lay a strip copied from the central trench reception board. Its sequence matched the hidden slates. Beneath it, Edrin had written, "Received complete before vault hold was issued. Official copy ordered shortened at casualty review." No name followed the accusation. The packet also contained a transfer chit for Elian Tor. He had not died beneath Ash Barrow. 3 days after Red Hollow, he was moved alive from the Signal Infirmary under restricted household protection. "Whose household?" Eryk asked. The clerk unfolded the lower edge. The transfer destination was Trent House, the same estate belonging to Solus's sister, the woman chosen to receive Mellin's home before Mellin was officially named deserter. Trent House was placed under independent seal before Solus's sister could move another household register. Elian Tor's transfer there did not prove Commander Solus Trent ordered his concealment. It proved only that a living signal officer, falsely reported dead, had been moved into the same household, preparing to receive Mellin Shaw's home. Solus's counsel stood beside the sealed estate books. "My sister sheltered wounded officers after Red Hollow. Household protection was not imprisonment." Mellin looked toward the white deserter seal, still fixed across her door. "You hid the man who carried the command and prepared a place for the house of the woman who obeyed it. Alpha King Eryk Bann extended her temporary standing to Trent House custody and protected witness routing. He did not restore her rank. He did not remove the seal. He did not return the Shaw house. The household intake register listed Elian under the name Elias Thorne, a fevered signal clerk without family. He remained 11 days. His food, medicine, and guards were paid through the same command account that financed Edrin Shaw's detention. "Protected witnesses require guards," Solus said. "They also require legal status," Mellin replied. Elian had none. The household steward, Mares Ven, was brought before the tribunal. He had filed the petition claiming Mellin's home for Solus's sister. "Who ordered you to admit Elias Thorne?" Mellin asked. "Lady Trent." "Who gave her the name?" "I do not know." "Who supplied the command funds?" "A sealed note arrived from Commander Trent's office." "Did you see Solus write it?" "No." "The limitation was entered." "Why did you file for my house?" "Lady Trent believed the property would be vacant after military classification." "Who told her that?" Mares lowered his eyes. "Her brother said the Shaw claim would not survive review." Solus answered, without hesitation. "I knew Mellin faced desertion proceedings. Predicting an outcome is not controlling it." "No," Mellin said. "But your family prepared to benefit before the witnesses had finished speaking. The visitor book showed Solus entered Trent House on the night Elian arrived. He remained 37 minutes. "Did you meet the signal officer?" Eryk asked. "I visited my injured sister. Lady Trent had not been ill. Her physician's account showed no treatment that week." Solus's counsel objected that family visits required no medical reason. The entry placed Solus inside the house. It did not prove which room he entered or whom he spoke to. Mellin requested Elian's departure order. The register said he was transferred to Wolf Pine Rest, a remote hospice for damaged military wolves and soldiers. Wolf Pine denied receiving anyone under either name. A folded stable slip listed a different destination: Bracken Mere, a private hunting lodge, once used by Solas's command staff. Independent riders were sent before the lodge could be warned. They returned after nightfall, with an older man whose left leg dragged and whose throat bore the pale scar of a broken signal collar. Alien Tor was alive. Mellin did not question him immediately. She requested that his legal status be entered first. Not prisoner, she said. Not protected property. Not dead. Eryk ordered him. Recognized as a surviving signal officer and independent witness. Only then did Mellin face him. Did you carry the complete North Ridge sequence to the central trench? Yes. Who received it? Relay. Captain Rorik Dane took the slate. The command clerk read the sequence aloud. Was Commander Trent present? Yes. Solas's counsel rose. Memory after years of confinement is vulnerable to suggestion. Elian looked at him. I remember the words, because they ended my life without killing me. Mellin continued. What did the command clerk read? Civilian road first. Mellin Shaw holds evacuation command. Garran Shaw holds the eastern line until the last wagon clears. Lower vault remains secondary. What did Commander Trent say? Elian's hand tightened around the witness rail. He asked whether the late Alpha had named Mellin personally. Rorik said yes. And then? He ordered the wagons held and the lower vault secured. Did he state why? He said the treasury could not be abandoned to fire. Solas stepped forward. Because wintergrain and crown assets fed the surviving pack. I exercised field authority during collapse. Elian's testimony established that Solas heard the full sequence before issuing the competing order. It did not prove that he intended Garran's battalion to die, or that every later alteration came from his hand. Did he order the North Ridge command erased? Mellin asked. Not in front of me. Did he order you confined? No. Rorik told me the commander required a corrected statement. Did you see Solas sign that order? No. The limitations were entered before the court could turn a witness into certainty. Elian then described the correction placed before him at Trent House. It removed Mellin's named authority, changed the vault from secondary to protected priority, and stated that Garran remained because his wife had abandoned reserve support. I refused it. What happened? Commander Trent came to the room, Solas said. That is false. Elian did not raise his voice. He told me battle records preserve the kingdom. Not every dying man's intention. He said if the sequence remained disputed, the court would lose the vault silver, the officer honors, and the Shaw holding. The words were testimony, not yet independent proof. Mellin asked whether anything had been written. Elian reached inside his coat and removed a narrow iron clasp. Brackenmere's keeper had preserved it with his personal effects. Inside the clasp was a folded command room receipt. It bore Solas's full personal seal, not a deputy mark. The receipt acknowledged the complete North Ridge sequence and authorized a superseding order. Vault priority. Hold reserve wagons. If Shaw departs under the Ridge Command, classify the route unauthorized pending casualty review. Below it appeared a second instruction. Preserve transfer eligibility of the Shaw holding until final judgment. Solas did not confess. He said emergency command allowed him to override a dying king when conditions changed. But the receipt proved he had heard the order, replaced it, and prepared Mellin's departure for classification before the battlefield report was written. Eryk removed the red hollow command clasp from Solas's coat. Not his honors. Not yet. He suspended Solas from command and placed the receipt under final tribunal seal. Mellin looked toward her house. The word deserter still remained above the door. Now everyone in the courtyard knew it had been prepared before she ever returned from the road. The final red hollow tribunal convened with Mellin Shaw's door, still barred beneath the white deserter seal. No clerk was permitted to remove it before the judgment that had placed it there was publicly corrected. Commander Solas Trent stood without his command clasp, though his war honors remained fastened to his coat. The complete North Ridge receipt lay beside the withdrawal ledger, Edrin Shaw's correction, the mint records, the Crowglass custody book, and Elian Tor's preserved command strip. The red hollow command stones stood silent beneath the cloister. They had restored one erased sacrifice order. Human witnesses and records had exposed what was done afterward. Solas repeated his defense before the independent judges. The late Alpha was dying. The lower vault contained winter grain, crown silver, and the means to rebuild the army. I exercised emergency authority when the battlefield changed. Emergency authority may explain the competing order, the presiding judge said. It does not explain why Mellin's named command was removed from the final record. It was disputed. The command room receipt acknowledges it as complete. My officers still had to decide whether her column exceeded its limits. Then why was her house transfer prepared before those limits were reviewed? Solas looked toward his sister's steward. My family acted under vacancy law. And why were the missing silver wagons entered as evacuation loss? I did not write every route correction. Why were Edrin Shaw and Elian Tor moved under false names after refusing amended statements? My dead adjutant controlled witness custody. The tribunal did not treat every act beneath Solas's office as proof of his personal hand. It separated what the record established from what remained uncertain. No surviving evidence showed that Solas intended Garran's battalion to be destroyed when he overrode the late Alpha's command. The evidence did show that Solas heard the complete civilian first sequence, issued the lower vault order in conflict with it, diverted reserve wagons carrying captured silver, closed the resulting payments after review, approved a report that converted disputed command into desertion, and preserved the transfer eligibility of Mellin's home before judgment. Elian's testimony and Solas's personal receipt established knowledge. The property docket established benefit. The hidden transfers established obstruction. The mint and treasury books established that the silver never disappeared on Mellin's road. Solas was convicted of falsifying a royal campaign record, unlawful diversion of war assets, obstruction of battlefield command review, unlawful witness confinement, and using military classification to influence a private property transfer. He was not convicted of murdering Garran Shaw or the Eastern Battalion. The tribunal refused to create certainty where the evidence did not reach. Solas's red hollow honors were removed one by one. The clasps made from unregistered temple silver were placed in evidence. His family's claim to the Shaw house was voided. His remaining military authority was surrendered for life. Only then did Eryk Bann step before Mellin's door. He wore no crown. The courtyard had gathered again. Widows, officers, clerks, and the civilians who had watched the confiscation begin without defending her. Eryk faced them all. I called Mellin Shaw a deserter before opening the full command sequence. I trusted a campaign record my own wolf had refused to complete. I allowed grief for my father and fear of military collapse to make official language feel safer than the woman who carried his final order. Mellin did not look away. You also let that language take my house. Yes. You opened the dead men's records while leaving the living woman's sentence above her door. Yes. You needed your father's command before you could hear me. Yes. No explanation followed. Eryk took the confiscation knife and cut the white seal from the lintel himself. The clerk read the corrected war entry aloud. Mellin Shaw departed Red Hollow under lawful evacuation authority issued by the late Alpha. Her column carried civilians, healers, and designated reserve support through the Eastern Road. She is recognized as Red Hollow Evacuation Commander, not deserter. A second correction followed. Garran Shaw remained on the Eastern Line by lawful order and voluntary field commitment until the final civilian wagon cleared. He did not die abandoned by his wife. He died protecting the command they both understood. The Shaw house keys were returned before witnesses. Mellin accepted them. Eryk then offered her the Silver Road medal. She did not take it. A medal would let the crown praise the woman it nearly dispossessed without changing the power that made it possible. "What do you require?" he asked. "A vote." The courtyard shifted. For whom? For the war widows whose homes, children, and testimony become military property whenever men call uncertainty necessity. No campaign evacuation law, widow property seizure, or war prize transfer should pass without their elected council reviewing it. That would place civilian judgment inside royal war authority. It already stands inside war. It simply has no chair. Eryk submitted the reform that day. The new law prohibited property transfer, while a battlefield command sequence remained unresolved. It required independent custody of withdrawal ledges, separate review of war prize transport, and an elected War Widows' Council with a binding vote on evacuation policy, wartime confiscation, and survivor compensation. Mellin accepted no medal. She accepted the first chair only until the widows could elect another woman without royal appointment. Winter passed before Eryk entered the Shaw house again. He came without guards and stopped at the threshold until Mellin invited him inside. Her old letter from him remained folded in a wooden box near Garran's field mark. Eryk saw it but did not touch it. "You kept it," he said. "I kept the woman I was when I received it. Does she forgive me?" "She is not the woman you condemned." He accepted the answer. "What may I ask of the woman standing here?" "Nothing that my restored name is expected to purchase." "Then, I will ask only whether I may return." Mellin looked at the unsealed door, Garran's corrected record, and the courtyard where widows now cast votes before war orders were entered. "You may return," she said. "You may not arrive as king." Eryk removed his iron circlet and left it on the outer bench. Mellin opened the door wider, not because the past had softened the present, because he had finally learned that love could enter only where authority no longer held the key.